Welcome back to Building a Main. We're kicking things off this time with the start of the RS2's Rampage event. Yes, the series is lagging behind a bit, but at least it's not snowing anymore. So, the RS2's Rampage was an event where once a day you get 3 rolls at rare loot from a boss instead of just 1. Naturally, I went straight to Nex and darted it, but with how few darts I had, I decided that now was the best time to learn the boss. So that's what we're going to be doing this episode. We're going to be learning Nex, and next episode we'll catch up on everything else we did while learning it. So the first thing we need for Nex is some solid gear, which means we need some quick cash. For that, I completed the Totem of Treasure and activated it. As mentioned in the last episode, this reduces clue scrolls by 1 step, which is huge since I'm about to do nearly 300 easy clues. I gathered up all the emote clue items, got scared with how full my bank was getting, and started running some clues. Since I couldn't remember all of the teleports needed, I started with just the Legends Cape and added more as I needed them. We ended up with the Mystical Sand Seed, Archaeology Journal, Explorer's Ring, and Invitation Box, as well as the teleport runes. It took between 7 and 8 hours, but we ended up getting 285 easy caskets. So enjoy some music while we crack them open. Okay, I completely missed this. I got the clue scroll pet from my first round of easy clues. That's incredible luck. I need to actually show this off. We got the clue scroll pet already. Does it have an examine? It tells you, yeah, it tells you how many treasure trails I've done. I've only done those easies. I didn't even notice I got it. So we started with 3 fortunate components, and after opening all of those clues, we got up to 100 fortunate components and this entire inventory worth of loot, which price checks for another 25 mil. So let's go make a couple alchemical onyxes and see how much we made. There we go, 2 alchemical onyxes made. So now I need to choose whether to make these into Luck of the Dwarves or into Grace of the Elves, whichever one I think will sell better. I think Luck of the Dwarves will probably sell better, so I'm going to make it into those. Okay, making 2 Luck of the Dwarves. So if these sell for the 79 mil that their guide price shows, then we should be making just under 160 mil. Unfortunately, the GE tax is now a thing, so we'll be losing 2% of this, but in exchange for that, they massively reduce death costs, and considering I'm soon going to be learning a bunch of PVM bosses, the reduced death costs are probably going to repay more than what we're about to lose here. In addition to the Luck of the Dwarves we sold, we also got 300 Reaper points and sold another Hydrix for another 80 mil. So for our range setup, we picked up Pernix gloves, fleeting boots, a scripture of jazz, and enough Serenic scales to craft full Serenic for ourselves because it worked out a bit cheaper. We then went and augmented our Serenic armor, and perked it out with Impatient 4 Devoted 2, Fighting 2 Venom Blood so we can use it at Araxor in the future, Enhanced Devoted 4, and Crackling 4 Relentless 3. These perks are all pretty great budget options because they're all potent enough without breaking the bank. A couple short trips to the Abyss later, and there is 90 defense. So without any further ado, there is our tier 90 range setup. Rocking Serenic, the Amulet of Souls, a Noxious Longbow with Pernix gloves, fleeting boots, Asylum Surgeon's Ring, and a Scripture of Jazz. Since our best cape before was just a skill cape, I decided to head over to the Fight Kiln to pick up the Tokhar Kal Zil, the range cape. And this is our setup for our first try at Nex. Unfortunately, we don't yet have the Reckless aura, and we also can't afford the Sharpshooter aura because loyalty points. So we're kind of stuck with no aura for now. But if I had one thing to comment on for this first inventory and gear setup, I definitely underestimated how important accuracy was at Nex. In spite of our accuracy issues, we managed to get 4 Nex kills in this first hour. Unfortunately, it wasn't an hour where I recorded the entire hour, I just put the recorder on whenever I thought I was going to get a kill. But my main problem at this point was the blood phase. It was taking me quite a few sets of blood reavers to actually get Nex through the blood phase, and there were a couple times I teleported out because she just healed so much in blood phase it wasn't even worth continuing the kill. So for those that don't know, Nex is a 5-phase boss, and we'll go into detail of each phase shortly, but for now, that bottom point is the key one. Nex has incredibly high defense, and getting to 100% hit chance on her, even with tier 90s, takes quite a bit of gearing effort. Even using a Nihil and stacking up Blackstone arrows on Nex, we only had a 71% hit chance, which just simply isn't gonna cut it. Fortunately, with a few changes, we can get our accuracy all the way up to 99.1%. The first change is swapping the Amulet of Souls for the Reaper necklace. Because of the way protection prayers work at Nex, the amulet actually does very little for us, compared to the 3% desperately needed accuracy from the necklace. The second change is getting 99 range. It might seem small to be missing only 3 range levels, but each level works out to almost 1% accuracy. Getting 99 is as big an upgrade as the necklace. Finally, the Reckless aura, which takes our accuracy from 82.8% to 99.1% for 30 minutes. We can reset this with our Premier token for a full hour, or use 800k worth of Viswax to extend it. So in order to get 99 range, we just went and camped Kriara for a bit. This had the added benefit of also getting us the Marks of War we needed for the Reckless aura. So we now have all 3 of those upgrades mentioned before in the bag, as well as some sick loot from Kriara. In the same vein as getting 99 range, we also upgraded our overloads to Supreme overloads. These give an additional 2 levels over regular overloads, which equates to almost a 2% accuracy gain. As this takes us over 100% accuracy, I'm now going to drop the Nihil from the kills in favor of a Yak just for a bit more consistency and safety, at least while we're learning. Okay, I've had offers in for Blackstone arrows, Death Spore arrows, and an Amulet of the Forsaken for most of today. They're not buying. The arrows are actually in both 20% over mid, and they're just not even slow buying. So I have no idea what's going on there, but that means we're going to be trying our first next hour, well, today's next hour, with just Araxite arrows. We're going to lose a bit of accuracy over being able to use the Blackstone arrows, which is why I was also trying to buy the Death Spore arrows so we at least had something. But yeah, we're stuck with just plain old tier 90 damage. Bit of an accuracy hit, but we should be able to make it work. Our accuracy is still significantly better than it was last time. Okay, it's time to start our hour of Nex. I'm going to use a Pack Yak just to reduce costs, increase supplies, try and make the kills more consistent first, and then when we get more comfortable, we can swap back to a Nihil for the increased damage and accuracy. It took me a few attempts and even a successful kill before I realized that I hadn't actually activated the Reckless Aura, and this completely tanked our accuracy to the point where we just could barely get through Blood Phase. I had teleported out twice previously, just because Blood Phase went so badly. But this kill highlights one of the best things about doing Nex, which is that she has a pretty common drop of Onyx Bolts, which is about 2.5 mil worth of alchables, which ends up paying up for your supplies if you get at least one of those an hour. So the first phase of Nex is the Smoke phase. This one is pretty simple. The two mechanics are a stat drain, which is nullified by overloads, and a dash to the middle of the room. Her magic attacks also have a chance to stun and drag you, but as long as you anticipate before your big channels and don't stand in the lines of the Zerosian Cross, this phase is pretty chill. Between each phase, you need to kill an ad. These ads have pretty aggressive damage soft caps, so you want to use bleeds on them to get them down the quickest. You start with Fumus in the northwest of the room and rotate clockwise each phase. Next up is the Shadow phase. The two mechanics of this phase are Fear the Shadow, which puts a shadow bomb under your feet, and Embrace Darkness, which deals typeless damage to you if you stay near Nex. Simply kite her around if she's in melee mode, and try to phase her in the south of the room to give yourself as much time as possible for the next ad. The melee mode can be avoided in the first two phases by using a few pieces of melee gear in low impact slots to raise your melee defense high enough that it's not lower than both your magic and range defense. After Umbra has been defeated, Nex will go into Blood phase on the next attack. As bleeds heal her during this phase, you want to either swap to a Revo bar without bleeds, or just not use them if you're using manual. It's also worth noting that Nex only phases when attacked, rather than when the ad is defeated. This will be useful later, but it gives you time now to swap your bars if you need to. We're now on to the Blood phase, which is possibly the trickiest phase when learning. The two mechanics present are Siphon and Sacrifice. Siphon summons two Blood Reavers and causes Nex to heal any damage that would be taken during the Siphon. Once her wings reach their peak, you can channel a Snipe to get a head start on the damage check. You want to ignore the Blood Reavers here. The amount they heal is not worth focusing them, even if she does another Siphon later and consumes them. The other mechanic, Sacrifice, is a simple outrange mechanic. The max range of the Nox bow is out of this range, and as soon as you've left the range, you're fine to re-enter it. The Blood phase is essentially a DPS check. Once she hits 80k health, she's not going to heal anymore, so you want to try and burst her to that before the second Siphon. For this reason, you want to use a Vom Bomb in this phase and save your thresholds while killing Umbra. At 80k health, you can swap back to your bleed bar if using Revolution, and then kill the ad. You'll then be entering the Ice phase. The first mechanic of this phase is the Ice Prison, which requires the use of Freedom and some life point boosting in order to survive. For the first prison, I use a Rocktail and Brew to boost my life and reactivate Protect from Magic as soon as I can. For the second prison, I use the Power Burst of Vitality. This potion doubles your max and current life points for a short time, and if you click it in your inventory, you can even use it while stunned. The latter part of this is important because without sufficient kiting, the second prison will happen before your freedom comes off cooldown. Also, it's possible to phase into Xera's phase as you get prisoned the second time, which then causes her next auto to be quicker and deadlier. The other mechanic of the Ice phase is Contain This, where Nex will dash to your location and deal typeless damage, disabling your prayers. This also seems to send out some icicles that do a second, weaker version of this attack, though I can't find mention of this elsewhere, so I'm not sure of the specifics. Basically, move from where you were, and move again to avoid both parts. This is where the phasing behavior of Nex comes into play. If you phase her after a Blood Siphon, then the first special in Ice phase will be a Prison, whilst if you wait for Sacrifice, you'll instead make the first special Contain This. I recommend waiting for the Sacrifice before phasing into the Ice phase while learning, as it minimizes the number of prisons you need to deal with. Finally, after Ice phase, Nex starts using Turmoil and Soul Split, and the damage cap becomes even more aggressive. Bleeds are your friend here, and you're going to need to kite Nex around to minimize her healing. Once she's dead, she uses Wrath, so move away to not lose your loot. Of course, things don't always go to plan, and there were definitely a few things at Nex that repeatedly killed me. The first offender here is the Ice Prison. I specifically mentioned before that I started using Power Burst of Vitality on the second Ice Prison. Well, here's what happens before that was the case.
Oh. Oh, Freedom didn't come back in time. No.
The other thing I struggled with quite a bit was trying to get Nex out of melee mode in the Shadow phase. The problem with Nex constantly being in melee mode during Shadow phase is it inevitably ends up leading to scenarios like this one. And then I managed to kill myself with Shadow Tendrils by being greedy.
Oh my. That was sloppy. I should have waited to make sure the Rocktail went through before I used Shadow Tendrils. Complacency killed the cat. That was a shame. That was a. I was playing aggressively because that was a potential PB with how well that had gone. And I got punished.
But there was one main problem hurting my consistency at Nex, and that was the blood phase. Due to my inability to consistently get through the blood phase in one siphon, it would just make some kills take way longer than they needed to. And while I probably could just get better, useful manual, use a better rotation for blood phase, there's another option that is a little easier. And that is the Essence of Finality with a dark bow in it. The Essence of Finality is straight up the best amulet in the game. It combines a Reaper's Necklace with an Amulet of Souls, and it allows you to put any weapon inside of it to gain its special attack on any weapon of the same style. So with our shiny new amulet and a bunch of practice, our kills ended up looking like this.
Shaking underneath, trying to take me alive. Get ready for the fallout. Can't stop me now. I got no rival. I'ma find my way through the blood and pain game of survival. Any time or place, watch 'em run away. I got none. I'll be standing. Never gonna take my throne. I got no rival. Watch 'em run away. I got no. I got no rival.
This took about 6 hours, but we got almost a 3-minute PB using a yak. Unfortunately, watching this back, I think if we'd just used a Nihil, we would have got even better. But foresight is 2020. And now it's time for the dopamine. We've learnt the boss, practiced it a bunch, farmed it even more, and let's see what we got.
Okay, there we go. One more kill in the bag. Hey, we got a drop. We got Torva gloves. It paid off. 33.8 mil drop. Pernix chaps. Nice. Not as expensive as a Torva piece, but we take that. First kill of the day as well. I didn't even grab my war buff, so let's go grab that and try our luck at the back-to-back. Something. We're getting a PR here. We just got the back-to-back and it was Torva plate legs? No. Like, okay, and kind of cheating on the back-to-back because we used Raptor's favor. But that's a 100 mil drop. That's like nearly 10% of my bank value. I probably wouldn't need to worry about Blackstone arrows anymore. At that point, it'd probably be worth going. Oh, nice. We got. Wait, is that a duplicate? I think we already had Perdix chaps. Oh, well, that's nice. Some money in the bank. Okay, we saved it. Not a clean pool in the slightest. Rewarded with the Versus robe top. Okay, we take that. Oh, that's juicy.
And that's where we're going to be wrapping things up. A bit of a different episode this time, a lot more of a focus, but next time we'll go back and catch up on everything that we skipped over because this next grind did take quite a while and we did do some other stuff at the same time. In total, we got 130 KC at next, we got almost to a 3-minute PB. I'm probably going to be trying to go for that at some point in the future. But for now, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and I hope to catch you all again next time.